All right, what's up? Sorry, guys, running a little bit late. Had some technical difficulties, couple different things, but I'm here. A little bright tonight. I got a new computer monitor, so I'm like lit up, like but looking a little pale, so I have to work on that. Look like a ghost. But anyway, what you guys want to start with? Let's get into it, man. Stuff's just crazy. You guys know how the market is. What are you guys what are you guys buying? Have you guys kicked it back over to modern basketball yet? You guys still hung up in the vintage stuff? Any Marvel stuff? Any cool just out of this, you guys tell me what's going on. What do you guys want to start with? So we're going to just go ahead and pick it up with some, I guess, some questions. Right out of the box, what do I think of Brandon Ingram? Be a little more specific with me, guys. When you're going to ask me a question about a player, like what do I think about him? Do I think he's talented, investment potential, long-term, short-term? I mean, it's not just as easy as what do I think of Brandon Ingram. I'm not investing in him if that's what you're asking. I believe Zion is the play there in New Orleans. Ingram's a really good player, don't get me wrong, but that's going to be Zion's team if it's not already. And yeah, he's a good player. But if you're buying him, you're probably buying him to flip him. And I don't know if his cards are really going to move that much. I think you got to be very specific with your modern day targets right now, or with your modern basketball targets right now. I don't think it's going to be anybody who is anybody playing somewhat good like it was last year. I think it's going to be more guys who actually are going to be playoff threats, the faces of their team, haven't been in the league for like 4 years and just now starting to play well, things like that. I hear you, Joel, buying all the goodies. I am too. I'm trying to consolidate a little bit, though, get into some bigger cards. I want some jersey patches, some autos. I want some higher-end stuff, so I'm trying to flip my way up to it. And, also dabbling outside the sports card market a little bit. You know how I do, but you can't buy everything, so there'll be certain things that I stay away from, not because I dislike them, but just because you got to pick and choose. Nike Space Jam stickers, 1993. Don't know much about that. Anything with the early 90s tag on it, though, is probably going to be mass-produced, except for, unless it's graded or whatever. What do I think about GMA grading? It doesn't really matter what I think because, the market, doesn't tend to like it. I mean, I'll buy GMA for the right price because, I would feel a lot of times I feel better buying a good GMA card than I do a raw card because at least it has some sort of third party opinion on it. I know that GMA has gotten strict and they've gotten more strict on their grades. They don't just hand out 10s like they used to. The problem is that they got a bad reputation when they first started as being, very lenient. Also, apparently they graded some counterfeit cards back in the day. They didn't catch them and things like that. So they got off to the wrong foot when they started their business. And they're also pumping out a lot of grades. I mean, I know people want to use them because of their turnaround times and stuff, but the market value isn't really there unless you're hustling your butt off. I mean, I do know some YouTubers like Carson Cruz who hustles his butt off flipping GMA cards, but he has to put in a lot of work. Like, it's not like you can buy cheap, grade with GMA, and then sell high. It's more like, you're flipping, but you're flipping a lot of small cards to make money a little bit at a time. So it's a lot of work if you're willing to put it in. But they don't have a pop report either. If they're going to want to become reputable, maybe they should put something more into their service like pop reports and things like that. People might start taking them a little bit more seriously. To be honest, the next comment is HGA. I'm sending some cards to HGA if I can ever get And there's a high demand right now because they are selling out every Friday. As soon as they start accepting cards, they sell out within less than 5 minutes. They get their limit in. Now, they can't take a whole lot of cards in, but they're doing that because got dogs making noise, but they're doing that because they want to meet turnaround times, which is great because people want turnaround times. I believe people are going to actually pay for that. And the slabs are good, and they look good with nice cards in them. And actually, if you look on eBay, a lot of HGA 9.5s are selling at premiums. People are buying them. They're getting a lot of bids. So I could see it, growing. I can't answer this question about Shaq because Shaq cards I've talked about forever. Wonder why they were so undervalued. But he has 2 cards in the Stadium Club set. They could have something to do with it. And also with the Stadium Club, people tend to chase the Beam Team insert. So my comments keep covering up my face. I need to sit up higher. But they need to the Beam Team insert tends to get all the hype from the Stadium Club set. So and the regular tops because it's a classic. Starting lineups, grade or no grade? I don't know. I don't do action figures. I think that action figures is a good market and has potential, but I don't do it just because I can't get into everything. And now you're talking about grading your cards, grading starting lineups. With me, the convenience about cards is that they're small. When you start getting into things like starting lineups and stuff, now you have starting lineups taking up space and wherever you keep them, your home or whatever, sitting around. And then when you want to ship them, they're bigger to ship. You need bigger boxes. I mean, that's why I don't do much with wax. I just don't want to sell boxes and stuff like that. I like to keep it simple with cards. That's why the digital stuff is so easy, like the Top Shot and Star Stock. He wants to know why Miami sucks. Because the Buffalo Bills are a bunch of cheaters. I know this guy. I work with him, so he's allowed to get away with saying that. So don't get on him, guys. He's a friend of mine. He doesn't have anything intelligent to say, so this is what he has to come up with. Long term on Brandon Ingram. I kind of give you my rundown on Brandon Ingram. I mean, he's just another good basketball player. But what makes him special? I don't think anything. I mean, he's going to score points like anybody else, but I don't see a whole lot of leadership, and I don't even see the Pelicans being his team anymore. I just see him being a good scorer on a not so good team. Very Jaylen Brown-like. Could see some value increase, but I don't know if it's going to be any kind of long-term where you're talking about him being a generational player. Zion's looked pretty good all year. He's averaging more points than anybody on that team. He was averaging like 25 a game. (2006) Match Attacks, Messi, Ronaldo prices. Are they in club kits? Or are they in international kits? Or are they World Cup? 2006 would have been the first World Cup for both of those players. So that could be why they could have a little bit of appeal on them. Guys, we're at 9:54. I'm like 6 minutes behind. I'm going to come on down the comments and skip up a little bit. If I miss you, just put it back in there. NBA Top Shot is going absolutely bananas right now. I'm lucky. I was in really early, and I got a lot of really good moments on there. I've also sold quite a bit. I've made a lot of money, and I'm still sitting on a lot. So Top Shot is just crazy. I don't use Twitter that much, but every time I go on Twitter, it's all about Top Shot. NBA players today, we're all over it. All kinds of different NBA players talking about, oh, we need to get in on Top Shot and buy up our moments and things like that. So that's the types of thing you want to see in a market when you're trying to make money. They already are. I mean, it depends on what you're talking about, David. Second and third year cards becoming a buy on who? If you're talking about Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan and stuff, second and third year cards have been a buy for a long time. If you're talking about Luka or Zion, I mean, Zion and John Morant, their second year cards will be this year, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Or Luka or Tatum, those guys, you still need to target rookie cards. Mass produced second year cards like Prism just doesn't, I don't find much appeal there unless it's got some color to it or a serial number. Even beginning to be that way with the rookies. So the second year, probably even a little worse. But if you're talking about legends and old school players, second and third year cards in good condition are already very desirable. Arizona Iced Tea. I'll actually be flying out to Arizona next Thursday, I think. Yeah, March 4th, whenever Thursday that is. Hulk Hogan cards, just any Hulk Hogan cards, 82 Wrestling All-Stars, 84 Tops. Which ones? Up to a year ago, soccer was a niche market. Now soccer is almost mainstream. What niche market do I think will be next to hit mainstream? Are you talking about sports, E-Man? You talking about sports or pretty much anything is going mainstream. The thumbnail for last week's live stream was talking about all markets booming. And when I was talking about that, I meant all. I wasn't just talking about sports. I still think hockey has yet to really see its day in the sun. But you're talking about Marvel, Star Wars. I sold Star Wars cards this week and made a ton of money off selling 2. And I just bought them a couple weeks ago. I bought cards on February 8th and I flipped 2 of them already and I kept 1. So all kinds of stuff is just being bought up. Anything in a PSA slab that's got nostalgia to it or some sort of collectability is just being bought up like crazy. What I bought was I bought those Star Wars Wonder Bread cards because I've actually been buying a couple for myself. Now, if you're talking about markets, I can't give you markets, but I could tell you some individual characters that I think are going to be next within certain markets. I bought a lot of 3 of these Luke Skywalker Wonder Bread 1977 PSA 9 cards. I bought a lot of 3 of these for $1,200. So that was $400 each. I sold 2 of them this week. One of them I sold for over $1,500, and the other one I sold yesterday for $1,325. So I've gotten $2,800 back out of a $1,200 investment, and I'm still holding one of them in my hand that I can just keep now because I've made a lot of money off them already. If you're looking into the Star Wars market, I think a good purchase right now is somebody like Obi-Wan because he's going to be the next guy, I think, that gets his own series. Like he's going to get a series on Disney Plus, like The Mandalorian, only it's going to be Obi-Wan. So, he's going to get mainstream. I think his stuff could become highly popular. He's already a big time character in the Star Wars, saga, but it's like somebody being a really great basketball player and you need a spotlight, something to spotlight them. Somebody like Obi-Wan is like a big time player in the Star Wars community, but needs a spotlight on him like a catalyst to really see his stuff bump up. We're talking about Star Wars rookies. This Top Shot market to keep going up. I don't know if it'll keep going up. I think it's going to go up before it goes down. It came out of the gates slow, and then as it got more and more users, it was really on fire. And then even for myself, I misjudged the market on that, guys. I don't get it. I get stuff wrong, and I misjudged the Top Shot market. I felt like the Series 2 moments weren't going to have any value. I felt like they were minting too many of them. They were making between like 7,500 and 15,000 of these moments in Series 2. And I was just like, that's too many. There's not going to be enough demand, or at least there wasn't at the time. And now that they've finished minting Series 2 and they've capped out at like 7,500 on some of them and 1,500 on some of them, or 15,000 on some of them. But now their user base has gotten up to over probably 500,000 users. Now that supply is nothing in comparison to the demand. Even all the stuff from Series 2, which I didn't really whiff on it. I just didn't really buy it, especially when it was really cheap. Is going crazy. I still think it'll continue to go up before it goes down. And of course, there'll be some stabilization, and then you'll have to see where it goes from there. But it originally was super hot, and then it came down a little bit, and you could see people starting to sell some of it off and undercutting each other and driving the market down. Now, I don't know if that was people trying to get some of their original investment money back, or if they just, felt like it wasn't going to trend anymore, so they were trying to get out. I don't really know what it was. It could have just been people trying to get some initial investment money back, so they were selling. But the last 2 or 3 days, maybe even the last 5 days, it's been absolutely crazy. And prices on the Series 1 and Series 2 stuff has double spiked again over top of the original spikes. It's unexplainable. It's just crazy. I'm going to sit back and enjoy it because I'm invested in it. And made a lot of money back already. I can't lose. What I've put into Top Shot is $800. I have $800 in Top Shot, and I've already got in my account $17,000 worth of sales. I could pull up my Dapper account right now. I have $17,000 in it off an initial $800 investment, and I still have about 60 moments and some unopened packs. And I didn't even sell my superstars. So that just goes to show you how insane the Top Shot market has been. But I can't explain or guess how long it's going to continue to go. I'm going to scroll down again, guys, because I was talking about the Wonder Bread Star Wars. The top Star Wars are also from 1977. A Luke Skywalker card #1 I was just watching, and a PSA 8. Which is considered like his rookie card because it's actually #1. He's got multiple cards in the 1977 top set, but card #1 of the set is a Luke card. So it's considered like his first card. A PSA 8 just sold for $4,000. I had it on my watch list. So Star Wars is paired with Disney now. They're going to milk everything they can out of that franchise, and it's just going to continue to be mainstream, even with a younger crowd. So you're going to have guys like us who love it for the nostalgia and remember the originals, and you're going to have all the new people learning these characters. I mean, Luke Skywalker showed up. I don't want to spoil this, but Luke Skywalker shows up at the end of The Mandalorian, and all of a sudden his cards go crazy. That's types of things you got to look for. Luke Skywalker got a cameo on a series, and his cards went nuts again. If, Obi-Wan gets a series, can you imagine collectors who collect Star Wars? And I know we're mainly a sports community, but that collect Star Wars are going to be all over something like that. Let's see. A lot of times there's a small dip. Every once in a while there might be a small dip before a pack drop, but that's because people are saving their money for packs. And then you can only get one pack, and then people are fiending for more Top Shot, so they go and buy the moments off the marketplace. I've been watching it all day long and been watching my account on Tangible Market, which gives you an estimated value of your account. And it's gone up all day long, just gradually gone up. And I haven't even been selling anything. It's just the market. Every time one sells, a new market gets set for the next moment in line. And you're talking about it's not even out of beta yet. I mean, at this point, I'm really not sure, but do you think there'll be a drop in the traditional card market due to money flowing into Top Shot? By the way, I hate the idea of Top Shot. Well, it depends. It could affect Modern a little bit. But you got to realize that a lot of people investing in Top Shot are a lot of people that do things with cryptocurrency and NFTs, which I don't know a whole lot about. So a lot of those investors are also from other markets. It's not just people who collect sports cards and things like that. It's people who collect NFTs and people who are into cryptocurrency. So You know, I didn't like the idea of it at first because it just didn't seem traditional. You know, I'm a little older. It didn't make sense at first. But then I said to myself, I need to give it a chance because this could be an opportunity. And I'm glad that I did. Now, would I rather have a tangible card? I would. I would rather have a tangible card. Now, they don't make vintage players. All the players that are in Top Shot right now are players that are currently playing in the NBA. The moments only go back to late 2019. So anybody who hasn't been playing, you know, since those dates doesn't have any moments. They do have some run it back moments, which go back to like 2013, 2012 or whatever, but that was just a special set. But again, they still got players that are playing in the NBA now. Like there's no Kobe moments, you know, there's no Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. There's no legendary moments like of players from back in the day. Now, the NBA owns rights to those, to the footage for all those guys, so they could put them out in possibly. But right now, I don't think it'll affect the vintage market at all. But you can't buy a LaMelo Ball rookie, not a good one. You can get a Hoops or a certified, or you can get a Top Shot. LaMelo Ball Top Shots numbered out of 4,000, which is his rookie digital moment. They're selling over $3,000. I mean, imagine that. A silver Prism PSA 10 probably won't sell for that much when it comes out. And you're looking at a LaMelo Ball digital moment rookie already selling for over 3,000. I'm just giving it a safe basement. I've seen them at 3,500. You got Anthony Edwards is around 2,000. These guys don't have cards out, tangible cards out yet that people want to buy. Yeah, there's a Duncan. I think it's in that throwback set that I was talking about. There's a couple guys in the throwback set that aren't playing because it went back to like 2012. Did Pujols retire? I don't know if Pujols retired or not. My thoughts are I hope that he doesn't. I hope he gives it another go this season and ends on a full season instead of a COVID season. Modern basketball, I did a video on guys from 2018 and up that I'm targeting. So that doesn't cover Donovan Mitchell because he's from 2017. But, you know, Zion is hot. He was my number one target in that video, actually. But I'm trying to sell off some of my base Zions and just buy like a nice select silver or numbered blue or something like that. Iverson's non-tops cards like Bowman's Finest or Bowman's Best. You mean Bowman's Best? Well, it could be a possibility. I honestly don't understand the run-up in Allen Iverson Topps Chrome cards. In fact, the first big sale of that to me had a red flag all over it because in the same exact day that the first Iverson Topps Chrome sold for like $12,000, they were selling at $5,000 all day long. Auctions, buy it nows, and a PSA 10 on the Topps Chrome were selling at $5,000 all day long. And then all of a sudden, a PWCC auction ends at $12,000. So to me, that was a red flag. There's no way you would see me throwing that kind of money at an Allen Iverson rookie card. He was a really good player. He's my brother's favorite all-time player, so I know he was good. It's not like I'm sleeping on Allen Iverson, but to me, he's just not a player I want to put my money into because right now I believe he's hype-driven. I know people are going to say, oh, he changed the era. He was the first basketball. He's the first basketball player with tattoos. He was the first raw basketball player. You guys are forgetting about Dennis Rodman. Okay? Dennis Rodman was the first guy in the NBA like that. And I get the argument that Allen Iverson, transcended the style of the NBA. So, the original bad boy was Dennis Rodman. Not taking anything away from Iverson's talent. He was awesome. He was amazing. He tried to single-handedly win a title with the Sixers, but they couldn't beat the Lakers. They actually took a game from him. I mean, he was really the only guy on that team. But, there's lots of great players throughout different eras that score lots of points and don't win titles. Oh, my dog's whining. You got a Series 1 unopened pack. How much do you think it will sell for today, 5 years from now, if the market stays relevant? Are you talking about NBA Top Shot? I have an unopened Deck the Halls Legendary pack. Oh, so Pujols has called it after this year. Well, you know what wouldn't surprise me? He's pushing 700 home runs. He's 34 away or 33 away, 36 away, something like that. If he can knock 20 home runs out of the park this year, I wouldn't be surprised if he does come back for another season. So I think it'll depend on this season, on how he, what he decides to do next season. Because some team will bring him back just to chase 700 home runs, just to sell those tickets and to chase that publicity. Got the gift rewards completed and Cool Cats reward done. I didn't do any of the Cool Cats or anything. I still have the unopened gift pack that they sent me. I didn't open mine. Romo was better than Aikman. That's not the comment. That's the name. His wife said this is his last season, top 5 right-handed hitter all time. That's playing on one leg. He's probably better than a top 5 right-handed hitter of all time. He's probably, you don't even have to say right-handed. He's a top 5 hitter, period, of all time. And you never know what will happen. Yeah, Rodman was the one. Rodman was the trendsetter. Like, when Rodman did what he was doing, it was considered bad. It was a bad look on the NBA. It was a bad look on the team. And nowadays, everybody is the model of Dennis Rodman, not as a player, but as in style. Yeah, this is right, but this has a lot to do with, just popularity and the city that you play in, playing in Philadelphia and pretty much being Philadelphia's hero, even though he never won a title with the Sixers, probably the most beloved Sixers NBA player. And I know you got Dr. J and you got Charles Barkley, but the city of Philadelphia, they just love Allen Iverson. It'd be nice to go 700. Yeah, he'd be the first guy to go with 700 home runs and 700 doubles in a career. It would be crazy. What are you wanting for base Zion? Who's selling base Zions? Base Prisms? Base Optics? Base Selects? Yeah, what a lot of people, Dwayne, what a lot of people think of is just, Pujols' last, probably 6 to maybe even 8-10 years or so of his career. Mike Trout's been the best player in baseball for that period of time, but the body of work that Pujols has over the entirety of his career is unmatched by lots of players in baseball history, not just over the era, baseball history. His stats rank up there with the best of all time. Literally, the numbers are there. And he has the World Series and the MVPs and all that stuff as well. He has all the the side dishes. He has the main course and the side dishes to go with it. I would hold the Cam Johnsons right now. 3 Prisms. Did you get $82 a piece or $82 for all 3? $82 for all 3 is a pretty good deal, just because it's going to cost you over $45 just to grade something like that. So, but I would definitely hold them. Now's not the time to. A lot of your modern right now guys, especially if these young guys that were hyped coming into the season, that aren't necessarily living up to their that aren't necessarily living up to the hype that was put on them. they're not good sells right now, unless you're really looking to cut ties because you're heavily invested and you're just trying to, cut your losses. Like me, I bought some Kobe White stuff, but I'm only like 200, 250 max invested. I would rather try to capitalize on another wave of hype on him rather than to dump right now, and take, $50 to $75 loss. Yeah, I've been on Pujols. I wish I would have invested more in him. I have a nice Bowman of his. Oh, I bought it when it was like super cheap. It's probably my best rookie of Pujols. But I got others. I got a couple PSA 10s, some PSA 9 stuff. Probably my best one is a Bowman, though. Somewhere. This is my Pujols Bowman. It's a PSA 10. Super low pop report and got the black borders. It's hard to grade. But when I bought that card, it was like $200. So that's back when I started getting on the Pujols train last year. Cam was getting a lot of minutes. Cameron Payne, I think, is another guy who came back and is getting some minutes, but they liked Cam Johnson in Phoenix, and they drafted him fairly early, spent some draft capital on him. So they'll give him minutes, even if it's just to see what he's got. 3 hours, man. What? I'm almost out of iced tea, man. When this iced tea runs out, I got to go. So I'll drink slowly. Yeah, this makes sense a little bit, Rich G. He's kind of the Tim Duncan of the baseball card market. But if you think about baseball, there's not many sexy picks out there. It's not like the NBA. The guys don't have much personality or even showing. I mean, even Mike Trout himself, he's boring. Now, he is the Captain America type figure with all the stuff that he does, for kids and things like that. But, in baseball, most players are boring because the Major League Baseball doesn't market their players, and they don't allow their players really to be individuals like the NBA does. Like if you look at Twitter, you see a lot more NBA players than you do Major League Baseball players or any sport by that matter, because the NBA allows them to market themselves and be individuals and be out there, and it creates a sort of a relationship to somebody, whether you know them or not. You can relate to somebody, and psychologically somebody that'll make somebody want to collect or invest a player, whether they're a big time producer or not. My opinion on Prism Baseball. Well, here's the thing. Prism Baseball from 2012 is going to be the first series. You talk about first Prism cards and how they blew up in basketball and even in football. Prism suffers from not having that Major League Baseball license. Topps still has it. So a lot of people frown upon the product, even though it's a great looking product. It looks way better than Topps Chrome even. It looks better than Topps Chrome. It looks better than Topps Flagship. Prism and Optic baseball cards, baseball sets look better than anything that Topps puts out. The only thing is that a lot of baseball card collectors are very traditional, very traditionalists. Baseball collectors, they like what they like. And, a lot of times they like the stuff that's not even super fancy. And honestly, if I'm collecting baseball, I'm probably collecting classic stuff too. Like I just showed you a straight Bowman rookie of Albert Pujols. To me, that's just a classic, clean card. And I think Topps fits baseball well. I think Panini, if they were to take over the baseball license, they would flood the market with all kinds of crazy stuff, just like they did with basketball. All kinds of product that nobody really wants to buy, but they only buy it because it's the only thing they can find. There is quite a few Topps products out there, and they put out some crazy high-end stuff. But I bought, you can invest in Prism Baseball because it's cheap. So because of price point, it may not hurt to gamble on it, but in the long run, I really don't know what's there. 2012 Prisms, I bought tons of Albert Pujols out of that for like $3 a card, just because if someday Panini gets the baseball license and it becomes popular, people may want to go back and look for first prisms of some of these baseball players. So, it could be something that you just gamble on because due to price point strictly, because it could see some upside. Like I have I don't know. I don't have many baseball cards really, but I bought like I said, I was buying Albert Pujols. I was buying Albert Pujols 2012 Prisms for like $3. I actually got this Albert Pujols green prism for $4, and I sent it to SGC and got a 9.5 on it, and it just looks cool in that case. So, $4 card, I spent $10 to get it graded. I could probably make more than $14 off this, strictly because of the price point. Not because that card is like super desirable, but I think somebody would pay more than $14 for it. What's up, Black Cat Cards? 90s metal sets. For basketball, the 90 metal sets, man, they were on fire last year with Jordan, but they've gotten on fire again. I've got a bunch of 90 metal sets of Marvel stuff that I think could be hot too. Those cards look super good. And I can't leave your comment up here because it's like blocking my entire face. You think Topps Chrome Refractors look a lot better than Prism Silver? They pretty much kind of look the same. I mean, one refractor, a silver is a refractor. It's just a different name from a different company. I think it's going to depend on the card. It's going to depend on the color. It's going to depend on the uniform. It's going to depend on the photo. A shiny card is a shiny card. Once you get past the shine on the front of it, what else is aesthetically appealing about it? Is it a good photo? Is it an action shot? Is it a portrait shot? Is somebody making an epic play? Can you see the stands in the background? Are they standing in a studio? Whatever. Yeah, Kobe, he's just inconsistent. But young shooters are going to be inconsistent. That's just the nature of the beast. You just hope that they continue to develop their shot. They go from being like a 35 to 40% shooter to like a 40 to 45% shooter to like a 48% shooter. You just hope they continue to progressively get better and not, worse. Because he's going to get a lot of play. And I could see Zach LaVine being moved from Chicago. Robert Horry, that's a blast from the past. He's got a lot of rings, but his rookie cards are, I'm going to say, 92, the same year as Shaq. I could be wrong. He could be the year after, but I'm going to say that Robert Horry rookie cards are 92, the same year as Shaq. And when you look at the underpriced value of some Shaq cards, I just don't see a whole lot there on Robert Horry. He's only known for having a lot of rings and hitting a couple clutch 3-pointers. That's it. Other than, he's almost like Steve Kerr. And remember when Steve Kerr boomed during the Last Dance, and then his stuff just came back to earth. He was a role player on some championship teams. Yeah, the EX cards are awesome, and apparently they're hard to grade because you see grades on these Skybox EX cards, and man, even low grades sell for good money because they're desirable and I believe they're pretty tough to grade. I have a nice Peyton. I think I have one graded EX card. It doesn't take me too long to dig it out. Right here. Here's a 1998 EX 2001, 1998 Peyton Manning rookie. Try to get some shine on it. This is a PSA 10. The gem rate on these is really, really tough, even though it's an acetate card. But I've been stashing Peyton Mannings for about a year now. When I bought this, I think I got it for $75, and now I think it's probably a $500 piece or a $500 card. I'm going to be getting rid of my Peyton Manning stuff soon because I bought it. I've been buying it since last February for April of this year, or Hall of Fame time to sell. I was even buying his Topps Chromes or Bowman Chromes. I wish I would have bought the Topps Chromes, but I was buying Bowman Chromes for like $199 for PSA 10s. Now they're like $2,000. Oh, PSA Slab Guy, yes. This is actually going to be my next video. StarStock uploaded my cards finally. And to be honest, I went on Twitter and sent a bad tweet out, and I don't normally do that, but I tweeted to StarStock. I was like, you know, you told me, you say it's 2 to 3 weeks to upload cards, and then you send me an email saying it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks once my cards arrive. I was like, your platform is turning into a joke. That was pretty much my tweet. Well, my tweet didn't have anything to do with it because I'm not influential like that. They don't give a rat's ass about me. But my cards ended up getting uploaded about 3 or 4 days ago. And what happened was they sent me an email when my cards arrived, and they said in the email, that's exactly what they said. In the email, they said, and I got the email on January 26th, so you guys can figure out the timelines here. But I got the email from them saying my cards arrived on January 26th. They were backed up, and it would take 6 to 8 weeks to upload. Well, they uploaded on like the 18th of February. So actually, they still met their 2 to 3 week time that they originally quoted me. But then they sent me an email saying 6 to 8 weeks, I guess, to just cover their ass. But they ended up getting them uploaded anyway. But I'm going to show you my video how I did on my soft grades because they were pretty tough. I did good, and I'm satisfied because I got a lot of StarStock A's, but I was surprised because there were some cards that I thought were StarStock B's that got A's, and some that got, vice versa. Like, there were some cards that I thought would easily be StarStock A's and got like StarStock C. And then there were some that I thought were B's and got A's. It was just kind of crazy. So I really don't know what to say there. Now, they were really strict on some cards. Like I sent in some Zach Levine select rookies, and I sent in some Colin Sexton prisms. And I bought a ton of Colin Sexton prisms at the Philadelphia Card Show last year at Valley Forge on March 1st. So it's coming up on a month since I've been to my last actual card show. And I bought a ton of those out of bargain boxes for like $3 a piece. A whole bunch. I bought about 13 Colin Sexton prisms out of the $3 box at a table. And I went through all those, and I kept half of them, and I sent half of them to StarStock. And, I looked at all those, and they all looked pretty good to me, and StarStock graded them, most of them out as B's. But it's not hard to grade a 2018 Prism card. So, evaluate at least. I'm not a grader, but I evaluate them. And I send tons and tons of cards to PSA, SGC. I send them to other bigger groups to submit for me. I do a lot of card submitting. And I was just surprised at how tough they were on some of my cards. I think some of them I could ask to get them back and actually submit them myself and get 9s or 10s on some of these StarStock Bs that they give me. Because I know what a good select base rookie card looks like. That's not hard to determine. Select is a clean card. Centering's not usually bad. If the corners are dinged, it's easy to tell. I mean, it's a nice chromium base card. It's not hard to evaluate one of those cards. So to get a StarStock B on it, which means they think it's an 8 or lower, to me, I wonder what kind of system they're using. And what qualifies them actually to be graders? Do they have someone from a grading company working for them or with them? Or are they just a guy like me who says, hey, that looks like an A, that looks like a B? How often do I grade cards and at what service level? Well, the service level all depends on the card. Not only the card, the value of the card, but not only the value, but also what kind of market am I trying to capitalize on? If I think a market is only going to stay hot for a short period of time, I need my grades back quickly. If it's something I don't plan on selling and I want to be long term, I can let it go, at economy, or at bulk. If it's a high end card, you might as well just pay for the quick service because they're going to upcharge you anyway. I sent in a LeBron James 2003 Topps earlier this week, and I did it at the $200 service, the 2 business days, because if I send it in at the $25 service and it gets a good grade, they're going to upcharge me anyway. I'm going to end up paying that price for it anyway, and I'm going to wait 5 months for my card. So I would rather just pay that money up front and get my card back, within a week or two. Yeah, Card Collector, I think you're kind of right, because I think what happened was they did their first PSA submission. Like you're saying, they're not strict, but yeah, I think they did their first PSA submission, and they may not have been pleased with their gem rate. Their gem rate was right around 40%, which for PSA 10 gem rate is not that bad, and they did pretty good on their 9s. But because people were buying raw cards at a higher value than PSA 9s, actually, Star Stock A's were going for more money than PSA 9s in a lot of cases, which never makes sense to me. But because at least with a 9, you're guaranteed what you're getting. But I think they probably cracked it down now so that their next PSA submission, when it comes back, they probably have closer to maybe a 70 to 80% gem rate, which will give people a better peace of mind when they're buying raw from them and also when they're submitting through them. So I think that is the case, that they probably got a little more strict. They're not letting some cards get through. And more than likely, if you're buying a Star Stock A from now on, you're probably getting your money's worth. But, a couple months ago, maybe not. Good Star Stock buys right now. I don't know. I mean, if they're good Star Stock, if you're asking about good Star Stock buys, then there's probably any buys in general. What you should look for when you look on Star Stock, look for their graded cards. A lot of times their slabs sell under market value, under eBay market value. You can find good deals on their slabs, especially their PSA 9s of any sport. Probably a good buy on Star Stock right now is probably some under-the-radar baseball players, because then you can flip them once the season starts. There's probably not much long-term stuff on there. And most of the basketball guys whose hype was, like a roller coaster, up and down, up and down, a lot of those guys have just kind of stabilized. You don't have any more of the guys who go out and put up one big night and their cards 10x. That's just not happening because people were buying into that, and and then they were getting stuck with cards that they couldn't resell. Yeah, that could be true. We'll see after their next PSA submission returns. But here's the one thing about their PSA submission that's got me bothered. And I sent PSA an email, and they don't care. Again, PSA doesn't care about me either. But Star Stock sent in a submission in January for a for the 5-month turnaround, the $30 a card, and they got that submission back in less than a month. I've had one of those in at PSA since August 26th, and it's still in the grading phase. And I emailed eBay, and I'm like, yo, what's up? How can Star Stock get their orders back already in a month? And I put in the same service level where I paid $25 a card for turnaround, and mine's been sitting in the grading phase for 2 months, and it's been sitting at your warehouse since August. Just didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. It's like, take the small guy and just stick his ass in the back of the line. We're going to do business with Star Stock. Guys, I'm trying to stay up on comments. If I skip your comment, it's not because I don't like your question or anything. It's just sometimes I got to get ahead so that I'm responding to people that are still here. Well, if they work on their hockey, if they work on their ingestion time, it wasn't that bad for me. And the problem is with eBay is that selling raw cards on eBay is shady because people can return anything against you. For instance, or let's just say I was talking about Colin Sexton prisms earlier. What if somebody bought, 3 Colin Sexton prism rookies off me for $150? Say they give me a $50 a piece and they bought a lot of them for $150 and I sent them to them. And then they got a handful of Colin Sexton shitty prisms at home. And now they're all of a sudden they're like, oh, this guy sent me damaged, scratched up cards. eBay is going to make me refund them $150 and they're going to send me their garbage back. I don't have to worry about that with Star Stock. I got peace of mind that once I sell something, it's somebody else's, and they have peace of mind as a buyer knowing that they're not getting scratched up prisms. You know what I mean? That's why they got soft grades on them. And, right now I'm messing with a lot of high-end, high-dollar stuff. Sometimes I don't even list. I got tons of cards and slabs between the, $80 to $200 mark that I just want to take to the LCS and sell so he can have some stuff in his showcase because I don't even feel like putting that stuff on eBay. I'm right now on eBay. If it's not like a $500 card, I really haven't been bothering with it a whole lot unless I'm buying it. But as far as selling, I haven't sold much on eBay that's been less than a $500 card. I have 0 Joe Burrow cards. I've busted 0. I busted 0 product. I busted 0 NFL product this year, besides a couple mosaic packs that I got out of a Target. But yeah, I haven't busted any product. And I didn't buy any singles. I'm just going to wait for the off season for some hype to die down. I bought my first football card of this year already. I bought a select Kyler Murray Concourse PSA 10 for $200. And my mindset is going into this season for basketball. I was buying Zion Select Concourse PSA 10s for $200. And now they've gone up to $350 to $400. So now I'm looking at Kyler Murray, and I'm like, if I can get his selects and a PSA 10 for around $150 to $200 or $175 to $200, I'm going to buy them in the hopes that I can flip those at $350 or so as we approach the NFL season and there's some hype around him as being a young quarterback again. He had a lot of hype last year. So that's a good buy. I'm going to do a video on some stuff that I'm targeting that's not just NBA, stuff that I think is a good time to grab now. Kyler Murray Select Concourses at $200 and a PSA 10 for me is a no-brainer because I can sell them before they even play. I don't have to worry about injury. I don't have to worry about performance. All I got to do is sell them, 2 weeks before kickoff, and I'll make my money. It's like I was buying Carson Wentz. I was buying Carson Wentz last month, some selects of his. I still have this one. Like here's one. Here's a select PSA 10 Carson Wentz tricolor prism PSA 10 that I picked up for $60. This card had crashed down to $60. I picked this up. He gets traded to the Colts. This is an instant, double my money. But you got to look for price point. I mean, don't go at some of these prices where people have outrageous buy it now prices and have fear of missing out and impulse buy and overpay for cards, because then you raise your risk and you limit what you can potentially make off of it. Tate, I don't deal on ComC, so I don't really know. Now, Star Stock only takes rookie cards, where ComC takes all kinds of everything. So I've bought off ComC, but I've never sold. The Star Stock platform may be better because for rookies, because they put that soft grade on there that ComC doesn't do. ComC just kind of sells it as is. Sometimes they'll put a notation on there if the card does have an obvious severe flaw. But you know, and when you buy off Star Stock, I guess you have a vault and all that. I don't use, ComC. I don't use ComC other than when I'm buying, and I have them send me everything. I don't vault anything with ComC. Well, Z, I get what you're saying about Jerry Rice. PSA 8, PSA 9 are good buys. He has one card. Rice is considered the best of all time. Is he considered the best football player of all time, though? He's considered the best wide receiver of all time, but you're talking about a position. Michael Jordan isn't considered to be the best guard or shooting guard of all time. Michael Jordan's considered to be the best basketball player of all time. So that's not a very good comparison. You really can't compare anybody to Michael Jordan. And I would say it's a good buy depending on the price point. Again, those cards have been going up. They've been hot. So at what point, do they cap out at? If you come in on one now at a high price, do you have room to double your money, or is it going to cap out? And then basically you really don't have a whole lot of room for growth, but you got a lot of room for risk. Because if you buy those cards now, those Rices have been on fire, like anything from the 80s and 90s. And comparing anybody to Jordan and expecting, comparing and saying, okay, if Jordan's worth this much, this player should be worth this much. You can't do that with Jordan. You got to find somebody else to do that with. Jordan's just a worldwide entity, worldwide sports entity, pop culture icon, everything. Jerry Rice was a great football player and the best wide receiver of all time. But if you ask someone in Japan who Jerry Rice is, they probably don't know. If you ask someone in Japan who Michael Jordan is, they're going to know. Any thoughts on the Fanimation Upper Deck cards of Jordan and Bird? I think they're pretty cool. They're going to be mass produced again, like anything from that era. I get the play on Marvel cards, and again, that's where people are getting a lot of the Space Jam stuff from. But I know of the cards because I was looking at them last year during the Last Dance documentary. They're okay. I just don't really think they're super cool looking. I would rather buy Fleer metal sets, and I know they're a little bit pricier, but to me, the appeal on the Fleer metal sets, they almost look heroic. They almost look super hero-like. However, they have a realistic photo of the person on there, jumping over buildings, but they look human. And those upper decks are very massively produced. For them to have any kind of value, they're going to have to be PSA 10s. I'm going to address 2017, like 2014 to 2017 targets in my next video. And believe it or not, guys, and a lot of guys are going to be down on me for this because I did my last video and I did 2018 until today, like newer. And people were saying, you didn't mention Donovan Mitchell. I can't believe it. But I clearly said in my video that it was 2018 and further. And Donovan Mitchell is 2017. So, but the thing is that at this point right now, at his price point, I don't know if he makes my list. That doesn't mean I don't think he's a good player. But, you got to look at the buy-in point of somebody. He's one of the guys that has already spiked. So for me, I would tend to put my money in a player that hasn't already, started gaining steam. There's not a whole lot of them left. There's some, and they're out there. You got to look. Donovan Mitchell obviously is on everybody's radar because everybody's mentioning him and talking about him. So usually at that point, at that time when everybody's asking about him and talking about him and things like that, it's usually too late. Usually by that point, you already want to be holding in order for him to be a good buy. He was a good buy, a month ago, probably at $250. I'm just guessing. But now at $500 or $600, probably for a Prism, maybe even more, is he a good buy still? Do you see that card being $1,000? Because if you don't, then it's not a good buy in my book. to me, paying $600 for a card that may become $800, that's gambling $600 to win $200. That doesn't make any sense to me. Some people like to gamble, and some people will do that. I would much rather buy a card that costs $100, like a hoops, and hope to sell it for $200 and just double my money. Because can it get much cheaper than $100? I pretty much limit any risk, and I have a better chance of doubling up than I do on a card that I pay $600 for and make $200 off of. So that's how I look at stuff when I evaluate. It's not always about just the player and how good he is. Do I like him as a player? Is the team doing great? Because all that stuff, Donovan Mitchell, people like him. He's flashy. He's got major dunks for a shorter player. The team is playing great. He's the main reason the team is playing great. Now, it is Utah. When you start talking about Utah, you start talking about boring teams that aren't marketed, that people don't care a whole lot about. Kind of like the Spurs. And so that's one thing against him. But whenever I talk about I don't think a player is a great investment, it doesn't normally have anything to do with their production as much as it does their price point, what they're already priced in at, and what I think your turnover is going to be as opposed to the risk that you're bringing in. Star Stock is designed for new flippers who don't want to think about grading. I don't know how true that is. I send a lot of cards to Star Stock, and I'm not a new flipper, and I grade a ton. It's just there's cards that I don't want to deal with, like a stack of Kyle Kuzma optics. I sent like 8 or 10 of those to Star Stock. I don't want to piece those out on eBay at $5 a card and charge somebody $3 to ship it and then package it up and then take it to the post office. I'd rather send all of them to Star Stock and sell them off on there, $8 a piece, and get rid of them. To me, it's about the convenience of it. And I don't want to send in 8 Kyle Kuzmas to PSA and get them back in 8 months. And I don't want to pay $50 to get them back in 5 weeks. Because then I'm not going to get my money back on a Kyle Kuzma card. Guys, I'm scrolling down. 1053. If I missed your comment, you can put it back in. 90s versus modern basketball. I feel like the 90s still has a lot of room. The production of the players, pop, report, still done. Well, okay, 90s players. Iverson and Kobe have taken off. That's your 96 guys. 92 is Shaq. Is there anybody else out of Shaq, out of 1992 set that you think has value? Does anybody think Alonzo Mourning is underpriced? The year after that, 1993, 94, I'm going to say that may be Larry Johnson, Dikembe Mutombo. Is that season? Those guys, there's not really anybody coming out of that year. You're going to get up to the year with Jason Kidd and Grant Hill. Well, actually, before that, in 93, you're going to get Chris Webber and Anthony Hardaway. Anthony Hardaway stuff has gotten popular. Webber was a decent player, but never really panned out to be the player they thought he was going to be. So as you scroll through the 90s and you start to look at some of these players, when you get to when you get to Kidd and Grant Hill was riddled with injuries. Jason Kidd, he's probably a little underpriced in comparison to these guys. Then you move up and you got Kevin Garnett's rookie year in there. His stuff's already blown up, so it's too late on Kevin Garnett. From the same Kevin Garnett set, you're going to have Rasheed Wallace, Jerry Stackhouse, players like that who were great college players, good guys for a couple years, but not guys that were best players in their era or transcended any further. So, then you start getting up later and you start getting up towards, Tim Duncan and Dirk Nowitzki and stuff like that. So, and those guys are already priced high. So when you're looking for value in the 90s of guys who haven't caught fire yet, out of everybody that I just named, the only person that I could see maybe having some sneaky value is somebody like Jason Kidd. That's my take on it after running through the best players from those rookie classes. The 1996 rookie class was loaded. I mean, at the time it was loaded. It had Kobe, had Iverson, Steve Nash wasn't even a thought in that draft, and he ended up being one of the best players from that league or from that rookie season. You guys got guys like Marcus Camby, Sharif Abdur-Rahim, Antoine Walker. You can go on and on and on of players who were great from that for a few years from those classes. Ray Allen is another one, but he's got more longevity to him. He may be a little underpriced, but I think his stuff is going up also. I just would prefer to put my money in other players than to spend a ton of money on a Ray Allen Topps Chrome rookie. Okay, Larry Johnson was 91, so he's the year before Shaq. Penny Hardaway was the year after Shaq, I believe. Yeah, that was the 93 year with Weber, Hardaway. And then Larry Johnson, I think, had Dikembe Mutombo. Not 100% sure. Talking about a long time ago. Chris Webber's undervalued and overlooked. Man, Tao, I don't know about that. Comparing him to Dirk, Duncan, and KG. I don't think Weber ever won any titles. And Weber, he wasn't a very good shooter. Like, his field goal percentage wasn't very good. He bounced around tons and tons of teams where Dirk and Duncan played their entire career with the same team. Weber, to me, just never really got comfortable. And he spent a lot of his career injured. He was hurt a lot. I mean, Weber was not quite a bust, but he was not what he was expected or drafted to be. At the time, back then, when we were collecting, he kind of was a bust. And now you look back on him, and with him being an announcer and stuff like that, he gets a little bit of hype and a little bit of notoriety, but he was hurt a lot, inconsistent. I just don't think he lived up to what he was supposed to be. He still had a good NBA career and was a good player, but I don't think he met expectations by a lot of people, and that's why I think people don't invest in his cards. Well, Tracy Mcgrady is a different year. Tracy McGrady's rookie again is from 97, and Iverson's from 96. You have the Kobe dragging that setup. It's kind of like 2017 NFL Prism. You have the Patrick Mahomes dragging up all the rookies in that set. Look at all the players that gain huge value from that set. Deshaun Watson, Christian McCaffrey. I could keep going. Even Aaron Jones, Juju Smith-Schuster. During the season, their stuff was selling like crazy because Patrick Mahomes was carrying that set. Kobe carries the 96 Topps Chrome set the same way LeBron carries the 2003 set. It just makes the other rookies in that set that much more valuable because of the number one classman from that set. Tracy McGrady was, again, another one of those players, but suffered some bad injuries. Prolific scorer, not much of a defender, didn't win any titles. Another one of those guys that played great for his 8-year tenure, but just doesn't get talked about. And a lot of these guys that are getting talked about right now because they're getting some notoriety on them, they're going to lose some of this notoriety. I mean, I'm not trying to be negative or anything, but these guys that nobody has talked about for the last 10 years, there's a reason they haven't talked about them for the last 10 years. And there's a reason why they're talking about them now, because people were bored with modern. People were bored with the young players who weren't living up to expectations. They went back to put their money into something else. And because Kobe and other players got outpriced, they had to find the next player in line to buy. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they were good investments, not super long-term. A lot of these players from the mid-90s, if I bought them, I would be looking to get out of them right now while they're hot. Now, not your Hall of Famers, not your Kevin Garnett's. His card spiked, deservedly so. Same with, Duncan. Same with Kobe. But guys like McGrady, guys like Iverson. That Iverson, I don't think will hold for the next 5 years. I often thought this about Parker, but again, we're talking about the Spurs, and we're talking about probably the best player in Spurs history, and Tim Duncan not getting a notification. If Tim Duncan isn't getting noticed, then Ginobili and Parker definitely aren't getting noticed. You guys are giving we talk Robert Horry 7 championships. Didn't hey E-Man, you're a Dolphins fan. Do you remember when Matt Moore was the quarterback for the Dolphins? Well, he won a Super Bowl last year as the backup for the Chiefs. But he doesn't make him better than Dan Marino. So I just want to put that in perspective for some people talking about rings. So 20 points per game, that's not a lot. What's that? You like the way I was PC about that? I don't know what we're talking about. Let's read this Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy. As a collector, is it worth buying higher graded SGC and BGS cards because they're cheaper now for your PC, thinking at some point PSA might lose their grading king crown? I have nothing against buying SGC and BGS. It's not because I think that someday they could eclipse PSA again. At one time, BGS was the benchmark. Late 90s, the inception of BGS in the late 90s, they were number one through the mid 2000s. Now, I did a video a long time ago talking about why I thought that was. I thought the market was manipulated. Yes, even back then in the late 90s and 2000s, before people were buying a lot on eBay and stuff, there was market manipulation because there was a price guide. Beckett price guide, which, Dr. James Beckett, he's famous in the hobby, and this isn't anything against him, but in Beckett magazine, which was pretty much the Bible to sports card collectors, it pretty much told us what our cards were worth. There were no eBay comps and stuff to go by back then. Well, they never listed graded cards in the price guide. And even though PSA had been around for years, they never listed graded cards. Price guide prices were only listed in raw form. However, about 4 months after BGS started grading, and BGS is Beckett Grading Services also were the publishers of the price guide. About 4 to 6 months after they started grading, once their cards got into circulation in BGS slabs, they then started pricing graded cards. And they priced BGS cards to be more valuable than PSA. So that was telling the market, hey, BGS graded cards are worth more than PSA, because the market was controlled by the price guide. It wasn't controlled by eBay. So people looking at the Beckett, who had been using Beckett all their life to give them the value of their cards, were now seeing that BGS slabs were worth more than PSA, and BGS took control of the grading carding market for about 5 or 6 years. Then there was more transactions on eBay. I think people wised up to it a little bit, and they were just like, man, we've been being told by Beckett that Beckett cards are the most valuable. I think that's a conflict of interest. So that's kind of like what happened. And, people stopped using Beckett magazine. It stopped being published monthly due to the fact that there were so many internet transactions starting to take place, and that was what was controlling the market. And then eventually, Beckett is only really known for their slabs now. a lot of new people in the market don't even remember the price guide. So, that's why BGS cards tend to go down. And plus PSA is what is talked about on most big platforms now, big content creators, different tools that you can use to show you the market, basically gauge everything by PSA. So, SGC and BGS, still great value. I still buy them. I bought a BGS Larry Bird Magic Johnson rookie card in an 8 because I couldn't afford a PSA. So there's still value there because you're coming in at a lower risk. You may not have as high of a ceiling, but you're also not buying in as expensive as a PSA. So you can find value there for PC and for investment and flipping purposes. That was at 11:04. So we're only 4 minutes behind on the comments here. Iverson overhyped. I don't know if he's overhyped as much as he just is overpriced right now. I guess it goes a little bit hand in hand. I'm not taking it away from anything from Iverson's talent and his play, and he was really good, and he was a hard worker, things like that. He was a little off-putting to a majority of the league. If you weren't a 76ers fan, a lot of people weren't fans of Iverson because they thought he had a bad attitude, and back then that was a little frowned upon. But, he was in the media a lot, and most of the time he was in the media, it was negative. He was either arguing with his coach or something like that, but there's no denying how good he was when he was a player. Same thing goes for Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley was chastised when he played because he said what he want, did what he want, and the media interviewed him, and he was like, I do it. He goes, I'm not a role model. I mean, that was a quote from Charles Barkley, who said, I'm not a role model. And he got a lot of heat for that. And now he's one of the most beloved characters on the NBA, on TV. But overpriced, I mean, I think Iverson deserves his props as a player. But I don't know if his cards warrant some of the price points. Not for me. You just got to ask yourself, if a Topps Chrome Allen Iverson PSA 10 is a $10,000 card, you just got to ask yourself, if you had $10,000, is there something else for the same price that you would rather buy? For me, I can think of lots of things I would rather buy for 10 grand than an Allen Iverson PSA 10 Topps Chrome. I would rather buy a Kevin Durant PSA 10 Topps Chrome. They're about the same price. I would rather buy a Kevin Durant than an Allen Iverson. So that's how I look at it. Practice. We ain't talking about the game. We're talking about practice. That quote has been used so much. I think I talked about this earlier, but might not have been here. His place in the hobby goes beyond just his accomplishments on the court. He culturally changed the game. I'm not sure what that argument entails. With what culture, with whom did he change the game with? Was it his look? Was it his style? Because like we talked about earlier, Dennis Rodman was the first of that breed. Dennis Rodman was the first person to come in and speak his mind and do what he wanted to do and say what he wanted to say to the coaches. And as long as he showed up and performed, that's all that mattered. He was the first person all tatted up. He was the original bad boy. So all this stuff that Allen Iverson is getting credit for being the bad boy of the 90s is old news because Rodman did that stuff first. Or you could say he transcended it over to hip hop and things like that. But Dennis Rodman was partying with celebrities and married to Carmen Electra and hanging out in Las Vegas with famous people. So, I mean, it's all the same. I'm not sure, Brandon. How do you believe in him? Do you believe in him in a positive or a negative way? I believe in him as being a great player. I think he's going to be really good, especially for, I don't know how long-term he'll be. I mean, hopefully his body and his size can hold up. I mean, Shaq held up for a long time. He was a big guy. But then you got some bigger guys, explosive guys that didn't hold up very long. Blake Griffin didn't hold up very long. He's still playing, but he's not the player that he was for like 3 years when he came into the season. You know, Larry Johnson suffered injuries. So big explosive players, some have had longevity, some haven't. A healthy Zion, I believe, can be as good as anybody in the league and as dominant as anybody in the league right now. And he is. He's averaging 25, but he's been putting up 36, 33, setting, I think he was the youngest player to reach a certain point threshold recently. So there's no denying that he's scoring buckets. Had 10 boards last night against the Celtics. So he's rebounding some, which was a little bit down for him. But I think he's good. And if he can work on his game and develop a little, 6 to 10 or 8 to 10 foot jump shot to where his field goal percentage is amazing, but he scores everything in the paint. If he could work on a 6 to 10 foot jumper or 8 to 10 foot jumper to where people actually have to come out and guard him, then he can be even better. Yeah, Brandon, it's pretty much. Will I be at the Dallas Card Show next month? Probably not. I probably won't be at another big card show event until the National. I plan on going to the National in Chicago. That's not till July if it happens. What's up, Dustin? How you doing? Hopefully I'll meet my man Dustin there in person. You guys say what's up. Personal Finance Dad, Dustin in the house. Dustin, are we still live streaming on your channel tomorrow night? If we are, that means you guys get the Personal Finance Dad and Flipping Steve on back-to-back nights. You guys are going to be sick to your stomach listening to us 2 nights in a row. But hopefully you come anyway. But, yeah, I want to go to the National because I want to meet a lot of people. Like, I want to interact with you guys if you're going to be there and other YouTube content creators. If I go to other card shows that are smaller, they'll probably just be hunting a couple cards. I missed an auction on a card tonight that I wanted to buy so bad, and it was more PC. It was a long-term investment, but it was also PC. And the auction pushed up farther than I could go. If anybody wants to go on eBay and look at a 2015 Immaculate Dual Auto of Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, numbered out of 25, BGS 8.5 with an auto 10. I was in on that auction for a long time and had to back out. And that's why I was actually late for my live stream. That card was going to be a PC item that I also thought had investment potential. But I'll be looking for cards like that when I go out to a big card show. But yeah, the National probably won't make it to Dallas. I'm going to Arizona, like I said, in about a week and a half. On March 4th, I'm going to Arizona. I'm going to look for some card shops and stuff while I'm in Phoenix and see if I can find anything while I'm out there, but nothing in particular. Oh, Hockey 99. You guys are going to have to help him out with this because I don't know much about hockey at all. I know Connor McDavid's name, and that's about it. Not going to claim that I know something about a lot that I don't know. Brandon Lee, this question right here is I'm selling to buy, if that makes sense. What I have is some lower end PSA 10 selects of Zion. I have no idea where they're at. Maybe somewhere around here. Nothing special. But yeah, I'm selling low end Zion stuff. Like I have like select PSA 10s. I'm selling stuff like this to try to flip my way up to like a bigger card. Like maybe one of these in a blue numbered out of 299. They're selling for like 1,500, something like that. Or a silver premier level. The premier levels have pushed up over $600. Premier levels are probably pushing over the price of a Prism base. But I would like to get a premier level silver. They might be like $2,000. But I want to sell off this lower stuff and use that money to buy higher end rare stuff. Is Top Shot dead? I can get a pack. of just about any product, but getting a pack of Top Shot is like impossible, especially when you show players in the Top Shot says Top Shot is crazy nuts right now. We spent a good portion of the live stream talking about it earlier. NBA players are getting involved. Go on. If you don't believe me, go on Twitter and just tag yourself an NBA Top Shot. NBA players are tweeting out all the time, what's this Top Shot? I need to get involved. You got other ones saying, I need to go buy my moment. I want to buy my Top Shot moments and things like that. It's just getting crazy. You have other NBA players doing live streams, opening Top Shot packs and things. So, oh yeah, this must be what we were talking about. Like, yeah, Josh Hart from the Pelicans did a live stream opening some packs. And I believe that Dapper gave him those packs. So yeah, he, so we say selling direct to players. So yeah, I guess they're able to get packs. Either, yeah, Dapper must be selling them to them or gifting them to them, which they can do, which is a bummer because you have the everyday person, everyday Joe like myself, who can't get a pack without being in a queue of 50,000 people. If that LaMelo Ball hoops rookie, it's bizarre. If that I'd hold the Joe Burrow because right now selling Joe Burrow is a bad thing because he's probably at a low point. LaMelo Ball hoops is probably at the highest point that it'll be. As more and more products of LaMelo Ball come out, that hoops is going to go down in value. So I would probably sell off that hoops, stash that money, and try to buy yourself a nice LaMelo if you believe in LaMelo, or put it into something else that you like. NBA Top Shot is paying them to do that. I mean, that could be true, but before I say that it's true, you're going to need, there's going to have to be some kind of like proof or something on that. I don't think that NBA players need to take money from Dapper. I think they probably make enough money to the point to where they don't have to falsify something. Because it's going to be advertised on NBA games and stuff like that anyway. It's licensed by the NBA. It's not just like it's a Dapper product. It's an NBA product as well. If Top Shot packs were available all the time, it wouldn't have any value. They would because, and this is where I made the mistake of not buying a lot of Series 2 stuff because I thought they were being overprinted. They print packs to demand pretty much. Every time they sell out, they put out another wave. They're up on like wave 18 or 19 of Series 2, where Series 1 only saw a couple waves. And Series 1 moments, even the commons, were only minted to about 3,000 max, most of them around 1,500. And Series 2 moments, commons, are at 15,000. But when you look at the amount of people coming into the Top Shot and using the platform, 15,000, which used to seem like a lot, now doesn't seem like a lot. Even if you have 100,000 people, which I think they're getting closer to 800,000 people buying Top Shot moments, 15,000 isn't a lot for that. Even if they were to put out more packs, but people are going to continue to buy the packs. And as long as they still have limited edition stuff, it's just like buying Prism basketball. You can buy Prism if you can find it. So you can't find Prism basketball in retail. You can't find Top Shot packs on the website, but you can buy tons and tons of base commons, but you're going to have to pay high premiums for the low print run stuff. The Top Shot is working the same way, even though it's digital and not tangible. And Prism keeps printing more and more packs, or Panini does, and the value is not going down because people keep buying it. So Top Shot's kind of taking the same thing. And I'm not a huge advocate for Top Shot. Like, to me, I would never pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for a digital moment, but that's just me. At least right now I wouldn't, and I might miss out on huge opportunities, but I've already made a lot of money and I'm already sitting on a lot of stuff. I like Top Shot made 2,000 off of 9, but all of those tweets are worded the same to an extent. I just think they're getting paid to do that. Just look at all of them. They look the same. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, but, that's an assumption. I can't, I'm not a very big YouTube channel. I may have a teeny small bit of influence, so I want to be responsible for what I say. So I can't just say, Top Shot is paying him to do it. That would be irresponsible of me to say something like that without it knowing if it was actually true or not. It could very well be true. It may not be true. So I can't really I really can't say so. I don't know if Top Shot will get it licensed by the NFL. They might. They need to expand their platform soon. Now, I don't know if this is a serious question or a joke, but if they do, they could probably cross-platform trading. You could probably trade LeBron James for Patrick Mahomes and stuff like that, which would be cool. They are licensed by the UFC. So they do have a UFC license now, I do believe, which means they can start doing UFC NFT tokens if they want. So if you're a UFC fan, keep your eye out for a beta on that. I don't know when or even if it's coming, but I do know, I believe that they acquired a UFC license. The Heat have too many good players. They do, but they haven't had all of them at once yet this year. They've either had injuries or they've had COVID protocols like constantly. I don't think they've had a complete team all season. Yeah, same analogy of that 10K sale, digital moment or Durant rookie. That's absolutely right. And that's how I look at it. And it's if you prefer digital to tangible. If I feel like, and that's what I did. A lot of people are like, digital, don't buy digital, tangible's the best. But I was like, but what if I can buy digital and make money off of it to buy tangible? I mean, you guys saw in a video, now I didn't buy top-notch slabs, but you guys saw in a video recently where I bought a Jordan rookie and I bought a Larry Bird Magic Johnson rookie. But that was because I sold some Top Shot stuff. So without selling those I sold digital to buy tangible because to me, I do prefer tangible items. That's me, though, and that's not me saying Top Shot is stupid or anything like that. I just prefer tangible over digital. I do like the digital. I think it's neat. I think it's a cool concept. But I prefer the intimacy of having a tangible item. So if I can make money off digital and buy some tangible items that I would never normally be able to afford, then that's what I'm going to do, especially when I can't warrant spending thousands of dollars for a card as a PC item. I do have personal collection. Most of my personal collection stuff is very inexpensive or stuff that's not valuable. Like I got a Soundgarden Pro Set card from 1990 because I love Soundgarden, and that's one of my favorite cards on my PC. One of my favorite items that I own is this. This is a 1975 Pink Floyd rock and roll sticker graded in a PSA 8. It's from Germany, I believe. Panini. There's only 2 of these in a PSA 8 in existence, and there's none graded higher, and I own one of them, and Pink Floyd is a band that I absolutely love. So, to me, this is a great collectible for me, even though it may not have a ton of value. So, a lot of my PC stuff isn't super expensive. If I spend a lot of money on a card, it's usually with the plan that I'm going to make some money off of it later. Any new oddball segments I'm getting into? That's tough because, to be honest, is anything oddball right now? If I told you I was buying this, would it seem odd? If I told you I was buying Rick and Morty cards, would that seem odd? If I told you I was buying Super Mario Brothers cards or Nintendo cards or something like that, would that seem? It just wouldn't seem odd because right now everything seems to be so popular and so collectible that nothing's oddball anymore. I like the rock and roll stickers, like I just showed you. It's harder and harder to find them, especially in good grades. But some of those are some of my favorite things that I have. Again, this is 1968 Rolling Stones sticker, and this is a PSA 9 for a 1968 sticker. Panini Contanti, Italian. These weren't printed in the U.S. It's a PSA 9, Rolling Stones. There's like none of these on the market. Go try to find that on eBay and see how you do. To me, that's cool. To me, that's odd. To me, that's neat. Guys, I'm going to scroll down a little bit. So I got to talking. I'm not too super far behind. What's up, Steve? How you doing, man? You still putting out the YouTube videos? Steve's got a YouTube channel he does too, guys, if you ever want to check him out. Actually, if there's anybody in the comments who does do YouTube content or anything like that, I don't mind if you say in the comments, hey, because we're all here to help support each other and help each other grow. So if anybody ever wants to be like, hey, yo, check out my YouTube channel, and you don't want to do it because you think like it's in poor taste or whatever, I don't mind. And if I know that you have a YouTube channel, I'll mention it. Donovan Mitchell, Jeter draft picks taking a little dip in 9s. Maybe because they went up so far, so quickly. You know, everything has a recoil. So, but they probably won't, you know, I don't think they'll fall back down to where they started. Everything always establishes a new floor, which means every time it spikes a little bit higher than the previous spike. How do we reduce fees when flipping cards? Man, I don't know. Depends on how you want to flip. Do you want to flip raw to graded? Do you want to flip raw? Do you want to flip graded? You know, there's different ways to flip. So are you talking about shipping? Are you talking about, you know, eBay fees, things like that? eBay fees are going to be the same regardless of what style of flipping you're doing, unless you can find, you know, Discord groups, Facebook groups, Instagram, and sell on there. I just sold a Marvel card, a Captain America card, to someone on Instagram. I wanted $225 for the card on eBay, but we were able to strike a deal on Instagram where I was able to give him a little bit of a discount because I would avoid eBay fees that would have cost me profit anyway. So he was able to get a little bit of a discount, and I was actually able to make a little bit more money because I was selling off of eBay. But, you know, yeah, it all depends on what kind of flipping you're talking about. Like if you want to flip raw cards, like I said, a good way is Star Stock. And I'm not sponsored by Star Stock. I don't have any affiliate links or anything like that. That's why I can give you the good, the bad, and the ugly about it. But, you know, I send some raw cards there. And if they grade them as a Star Stock A, you're going to get a premium for them. Their fees are a lot cheaper than eBay. So that's one way you can go. And you don't have to worry about a lot of shipping. Once you ship your initial package of a bulk amount of cards to them, you don't have to ship a bunch anymore, and you don't have to pay for supplies. Like when you ship on eBay, they charge you like the actual postage fee. So if you charge someone or if eBay charges somebody like $3.20 to ship an item, they're charged. That's the postal service fee, but they're not adding in what it costs you for your bubble mailers and your bubble wrap and your tape and your labels and things like that. So, you know, that stuff can add up over time also. So, you know, a lot of times shipping one big package in bulk to a company to consign stuff for you, which is basically what Star Stock is doing, can save you money on stuff like that too. Oh, you like my Pink Floyd sticker? Yeah, it used to always be in the backdrop of my videos when I shot everything first person, and I haven't had it out in a while. I'll show it again. It's cool. And it's got still the original band. Roger Waters is still with them. David Gilmour, Nick Mason, Richard Wright. Half of the people in the chat probably don't even know who I'm talking about. I'm looking for a certain guy to pop up in the chat because I don't know if he trolls me or if he just does it as a joke or whatever. But every time I put out an NBA, like players that I'm buying now, he always comments with, what? No World Be Free cards? He's always like, what? You're not buying World Be Free? And I just want to say that I went through my old box of stuff, and I have a Lloyd Free 76ers World Be Free tall boy rookie card right here by Topps. So I'm hoping for this guy to pop up in one of my live streams and say, what? You know, try to troll me and be like, where's the World Be Free cards? And I'm going to be like, boom, Lloyd Free rookie right here. Get some. Henry H, what's up, man? Oh, no soccer talk? Yeah, well, to be honest, with soccer, I'm getting a lot of soccer stuff graded. Here's the thing, Slim, Shady, I like to play on the name. With I have a lot of soccer being graded right now, man, and it's gotten to the point to where I can't keep buying soccer because I'm getting so back ordered on it because I have about 70 soccer cards out, and I'm just waiting to get them back. Hopefully, I get them back before the Euros. And the stuff that I like to collect, which is old, vintage, rare soccer, that stuff is hard to find. You know, it's real hard to find vintage soccer. And vintage soccer is my favorite. E-Man will tell you more than anybody. I love the old stickers from the 80s, the 70s, things like that. It's some of my favorite soccer stuff. It's so hard to find. I'm actually eyeing up another one of these. If I can find my soccer stuff. I don't know what box it's in. Here's some soccer stuff. I'm eyeing up I'm eyeing up another 1978 Zico World Cup sticker. This is all soccer stuff. I'm eyeing up another one of these. 1978 Zico World Cup sticker. It's in a PSA 6, and there's another PSA 6 on eBay for sale right now. And even though I'm eyeing it up, I'll tell you guys, you know, if you guys want it, bid on it, that's fine. But right now it's at like $63. Now, when I bought mine, I bought it buy it now for $40. So there's one right now at auction already at $63. And these PSA 6s are pretty good grades on these old stickers. But whenever I find something cool like that, that's what I go for in soccer, considering I have so much raw soccer getting graded. And I have so much soccer that needs to go either raw or needs to go get graded. I need to sell. Tons and tons and tons and tons of old stickers. Almost this whole stack right here is stickers that need to go to PSA. Maradona, Kaká, Michel Platini, first World Cup, Iniesta stuff. I mean, I just got loads and loads of soccer stuff. Andrea Pirlo, rookie sticker. So, yeah, we're talking soccer. I got some younger guys like some Phil Foden optics. João Felix Topps Chrome. Ronaldinho. Like, I got lots of soccer. That's why I haven't really been talking about it, because I haven't been buying it because I have so much that I still have to send out. A whole bunch of like vintage Tom Finney stuff from London or from England. Zidane. Messi World Cup stickers. Messi prisms. I mean, Neymar prisms. Mohamed Salah only printed in Serbia rookie stickers. So, and that's just the stuff I have already prepped. I still have a stack of Rashford, Werner, Griezmann, just tons and tons and tons. So that's enough on the soccer. That's why you haven't heard soccer content, because I just haven't been buying it. And the reason I haven't been buying it is because I'm so backed up on it. It's not because I don't like the market. I mean, I need to get my fallen behind on my soccer grading. Hero was on the bench all night for the Heat. Kendrick Nunn had 41 minutes. Kendrick Nunn's been playing good basketball. And, you know, Tyler Hero hasn't been healthy. He's had a bad neck. So, you know, they probably rested him some. So, yeah, Nunn's been starting. Hero's been coming off the bench and still playing well, but Nunn is probably the better defender. And right now that team is they're just not winning. So the Heat's probably mixing things up just to see what they can do. But you saw how much time that Hero got in the playoffs last year, even in the finals. That team made the finals with Hero on the floor constantly. So those guys will be on a rotation, all of them. Even Goran Dragic, when he gets back, he's probably their best scorer, and he's on a rotation. Like their backcourt is so loaded. Yeah, Hero, he's had a sore neck. I think he's been playing through it a little bit, but he's not 100%. So with Nunn playing well, there's no reason to rush Tyler Hero back into the lineup. I think it's too early. I mean, I like Nunn and Hero, but I think that they both have their good games. Hero will put up 35 and then he'll put up 10. Nunn will put up a good game and then he'll have a night where he can't hit a single shot or he's in foul trouble early, because he's playing too aggressively on defense or something. Yeah, the other thing about Tyler Hero is Jimmy Butler likes him too. It's hard to earn Jimmy Butler's respect, and Jimmy Butler likes playing with Tyler Hero. Nunn is probably playing the better of the two right now, but like I said, Hero's hurt. Sorry for the other questions, but but if I'm decent at predicting who would be a good player, how can I predict who would be popular? I just don't know how to see if people will. Like I said, so how to find out if a player will be popular or not, because you're looking for popularity to go along with production. Look for the team and the market that they play in. A lot of times that's huge. They play for a big city team. Anybody who plays in New York is going to be popular. The California teams, things like that. Also, don't be afraid to go on Twitter and see how many followers somebody has. Go on social media, see how many Instagram followers somebody has or something like that. And you can see, look at Cristiano Ronaldo in soccer. He has like 5 times the amount of followers of like LeBron James, I think. I may be a little off, but it's just crazy. So that's a good way to learn about somebody's popularity. Usually someone who's a little standoffish or a little quiet will, not necessarily be on social media and stuff a lot. And nowadays with the younger crowd and the younger collectors, and a lot of them coming into the hobby and being new, social media is what they get a lot of their information from. Do I think that vintage baseball will come back down to earth? Probably not. Probably not. You're talking about baseball, which has historically been the longest collected sport. Probably overdue on the prices of some of it going up. And now that those prices are going up, baseball players are just true to their hobby and true to their sport. Are baseball collectors, even more so collectors. Basketball, you got a lot of flippers. Baseball, you got flippers, but not nearly as many as you're probably doing basketball or baseball. Baseball people buy their cards, they hold them longer. They want these old, baseball is more historical in the U.S. than any other sport. The national pastime, it's just always been bigger through the years. And those stars of those years, that vintage stuff, finally got its day in the sun, and I don't think it'll really come back down. It may come down a little bit, but I don't think it's going to, be cheap. Yes, that's a good question. Do I look ahead to free agency and try to predict who is going to big markets? I look at free agency. I look at the trade deadline, all types of things like that. Do I think players are going to be traded? What team is a potential landing spot? Are they going to land with a playoff contender? Free agency is more off-season type things. Right now, you're going to be looking at the trade deadline for the NBA. Can somebody like Bradley Beal be moved to somebody like the Mavericks? Going from Washington to Dallas will not only be to a better team or a team playing with Luka or a big market like Dallas where Mark Cuban, blows his team up, popularity wise. Now Beal might not move. He's happy in Washington, but you can tell by some of his mannerisms when he's sitting on the bench and they're losing and he's got 60 points that he's not very happy. But yeah, you always want to look and see where somebody can land. If somebody's going to go from a bad team to a bad team, that doesn't really mean anything. Say, for instance, if Zach LaVine was to be moved, but he was to be moved from like the Bulls to like the Magic, I don't really think that would do much for him. He'd still be scoring 35 points, but he'd still be on a crappy team that's not going to do any better just because of him, But if he was to go to a bigger market team, that's another guy that's playing great. It's just a victim of circumstance. I think the Bulls are kind of fringe right now if the playoffs were to happen today, but do they realistically look like the kind of team that can be a playoff team? Not really. They're not consistent enough. But again, yeah, you try to look into the markets where somebody could land and where they might go. I mean, just look at Deshaun Watson and the trade rumors around him and how it spiked his cards. Football's not even being played right now, and the fact that he's talking about being traded has caused his cards to like 3x. I do not collect hockey cards. I have a couple, but I don't collect them. I have a Mario Lemieux rookie, and I have a Alexander Ovechkin RPA, but that's pretty much all I have in hockey. I don't know a lot of the modern hockey. I know more 90s, late 80s to mid 90s hockey. I was a diehard Flyers fan growing up. I used to play roller hockey and things like that, and I loved the Flyers. I was a huge Eric Lindros fan, a huge John LeClaire fan, Mark Recchi, Michael Renberg, all those guys from the Legion of Doom there, Broad Street. But they got swept by the swept by the Detroit Red Wings in the mid 90s for the Stanley Cup, and it just kind of took the wind out of my sails when it came to hockey, and I really haven't followed a whole lot since those years. I was really let down because I was huge on that team. Would I sell a card you plan to keep as a PC card, but you're looking at a 3x profits already in less than 5 weeks, 2008 with low pops, but probably more heading to PSA? Yeah, I can give you guys an example. I showed you the Star Wars Luke Skywalker card that I had earlier. I showed earlier. I bought the Luke Skywalker for $400 for my personal collection, and now they're selling between $1,300 and $1,500. I sold. Now, I happen to have 3 of them. I sold 2 of them. I still kept one. So that's kind of an example of that. So, yeah, if the profit was there and it just was like, would be stupid to not sell, because a lot of times when the hype and stuff dies down on something, you can go back and rebuy that card, for a cheaper price, and you'll still be sitting on your profit that you made, and you will get the card back at a later date, for less money. No, I'm not buying Mookie Betts, and it's not because I don't like Mookie Betts. I'm just not buying much baseball at all right now. And Mookie Betts is probably going to be a high price point because he's an established superstar, MVP contender, World Series champion. So it's like, he's no secret. There's not going to be any type of sneaky value there. If you're paying for Mookie Betts, you're probably already paying top-notch prices. So, again, I don't like coming in on players when they're like at their peak. It doesn't leave much room or much margin for error. You say you paid top dollar on the hype of Mookie Betts coming into the season, and then he went out and hurt himself. I don't want to say that to jinx him, but I mean, something like that happened. Now that card is going to nosedive, and you're going to have to sit on it for the complete season in order to get to break even, unless you cut and take a loss. No, still no Yager rookie. I just don't buy hockey that much. This is going to be a no. I'm not sure where Sea Isle City is, so no. Let me see. How much value does old baseball have? I don't know if a person who is 7 years old right now will buy a Tony Gwynn 35 years from now. I think 9 out of 10 they will buy a Kobe. Any record-breaking Hanks sell. Well, you're talking about baseball, but then you mentioned Kobe. If you're going to compare Tony Gwynn to somebody, you got to compare him to somebody in baseball. And you can't base baseball around one player like Tony Gwynn. Do you think in 35 years people will be buying? I don't know. Think of somebody bigger than Tony Gwynn, because Tony Gwynn wasn't a home run hitter. Tony Gwynn was one of my favorite players of all time, but I'm not buying his rookies. People are still buying Mickey Mantle, and we're 70 years away from when his rookie card was printed. 50 years, 50, 60, 70 years away from his cards, and people are still buying them. So, look at superstars from certain eras. If they transcend the sport and the era, people are still going to buy them. But you can't say Tony Gwynn, because Tony Gwynn isn't a fair representative of Major League Baseball when it comes to all-time greats and popularity. And Kobe is in NBA, and you're also cross-referencing two separate sports. Hank Aaron, you're talking about, he'll always continue to sell. Willie Mays will always continue to sell. Ken Griffey Jr. will always sell. So talk about somebody like Ken Griffey Jr. Will 35 years from now, will Derek Jeter still be selling? I'm pretty sure he will. So again, if you're going to use comparisons, you got to use guys that transcended and played for big market teams, and not just guys that were good players, throughout their era. And Tony Gwynn was great. He was an all-time 300 hitter, 3,000 hits. I loved Tony Gwynn. Him and Cal Ripken Jr. are my favorite players of all time. So somebody like me might buy Tony Gwynn because from a personal collection standpoint. But, talk about bigger names. Derek Jeter, 35 years from now, will be getting bought. I'm a collector, but see my card values going up. I still can't sell any because I love the card more than the money. Am I doing it wrong? No, you're not doing it wrong. I mean, people sell for different reasons. Some people are in the hobby to make money strictly to invest and sell and flip. Some people are your investor / collector. They invest, they sell, they make money, and then they buy stuff for their PC and also put some money on the side. That's kind of where I'm at. I make money off the hobby, and I also will put something back into a PC card. Like I said, a lot of my PC cards aren't super high value stuff. Some of it is. My Tony Hawk rookie card is probably $1,000 card, and when I bought it for like $100. Could I sell it and make $900? 10x my money? I could, but I don't want to. That's a PC item. I don't need to sell it. But other people need to sell for different reasons. Flipping cards might be somebody else's job. I have a full-time job that I pay my bills with. Cards and YouTube and stuff. I do this on the side for fun. I'm not sitting back here kicking back, raking in money on YouTube. I'm doing well with my cards, but this is what I do for fun. But someone might be in a pinch, might be out of work. It's COVID. Somebody might need to pay their electric bill. They might need to sell a PC card. It's just sometimes life is tough. And so as far as doing it wrong, no. If you don't need money and you like your cards and you value your cards more than cash, there's no problem with that. Collect, invest, do what you got to do to make ends meet. And at the end of the day, if you're happy, that's all that matters. Mantle is different. He's like Babe Ruth level. You're talking about guys that were good, not Mantle, not Honus. Example, Moses Malone, 35 years from now. I don't know. I think they get. Again, you cross baseball with basketball again. You talked about Mantle and Honus, and then you talked about Moses Malone. But I gave you some newer guys like Ken Griffey Jr. and Derek Jeter, who are guys that are still alive and in media and talking and all that. I think 35 years from now, those guys will still be popular. Not everybody is going to stay popular forever. I've always said that you have to be a generational talent and transcend multiple eras. You can't just be a good player for 8 to 10 years, because those guys come along every year. And there's a new grouping of guys that are good for 8 to 10 years. That's where I put guys like Tracy McGrady and stuff. That's why you hear me talking about McGrady as not being, guys like that as not being super long-term, because they didn't transcend the sport. Like, we would have never have stopped talking about Tracy McGrady if he was an all-time great. In basketball, nobody ever stopped talking about Jordan or Magic or Kareem or guys like that. Those guys are from, Kareem's rookie was a rookie in 1969, and he's still seeing price hikes. And it didn't take a documentary or anything for it to happen. It didn't take a charge on vintage cards for it to happen. He's just a staple in basketball. When you start talking about the top 20 players of all time, that's what you want to look at. Top 20 to 25 players of all time in a sport. They're always going to transcend generations. Even if people are young and they got to learn about them, they will learn about them because they're still being talked about because they transcended decades. So if you get what I'm saying, there's players that won't do that, but there's players from every generation that will do that. It may only be 3 or 4 from every decade that do it. When you talk about basketball and you talk about the top 25 of all time, does Allen Iverson or Tracy McGrady crack your top 25? Probably not for me. Does Tony Gwynn crack your top 25 for baseball? Probably not. Will Mike Trout? More than likely. So what, 35 years from now, people will be buying Mike Trout? Probably. And he'll be long gone and retired, but people will still be learning about him. Yeah, this is like, McGrady, Iverson, short term. Yeah, because that's what's popular right now. And I agree with that. Do I think McGrady and Iverson should have value? Yes, I do. I think their cards should be worth money. They were great players, but do I think they should? I just think they're overpriced right now. Mike Bossy is a top 3 all-time in hockey, but his cards have no value because he was way away in the spotlight. Mike Bossy, a top 3 hockey player of all time? I mean, I don't even know hockey, but I mean, Gretzky's already in number 1, right? And then you got like Bobby Orr and Gordie Howe. I would think that would be like 2 and 3. I mean, I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, Lemieux has to be up there somewhere. And I don't even know hockey a whole lot. I mean, Guy Lafleur, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. He's got to be up there somewhere. Bobby Hall has got to be in there somewhere. Is Mike Bossy top 3 all time? I don't know. I might be wrong. I don't know hockey that great, but So you say number 1 goals per game, but we're talking about longevity. I mean, number 1 goals per game, but how about goals all time? I mean, if he was number 1 in goals per game and he did that for a long period of time, then he should be number 1 in goals all time. All right, guys, we are 2 hours in. It's got 128 viewers. You guys get any other questions or anything like that? Let me talk about this. Unless things change, the no title thing could hurt Mike Trout long term. Without doing any research or Googling anything, can anyone tell me how many World Series Honus Wagner won? Can anybody tell me how many World Series that Ty Cobb won? Can anybody tell me how many Mickey Mantle won? I know he won some, but I can't give you an exact number. Can anybody tell me how many Ken Griffey Jr. won? I think sometimes the greatness of a player can transcend their championships. Dan Marino, Topps rookie cards are getting close to $10,000 in a PSA 10, and he never won a Super Bowl. And that's the one thing that people have always hung on him, was the fact that he never won a Super Bowl, but he almost gets a free pass because of how great of an individual player that he was. Mike Bossy nowhere near Gretzky's 2K points. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about hockey to argue Mike Bossy. All I know is I can rattle off some names that I know that were great players. So I'll let you hockey guys argue that one out. With a tongue patch. So you want him to have a patch on his tongue, or do you want actually a patch of his tongue? What happens in 25, 50 years, cards of Mickey Mantle or any player from that era, when people have passed that watch them play? I'm pretty sure all the people that have watched Mickey Mantle play, a lot of them, are probably close. I mean, I'm not trying to sound grim or anything, but, you know, Mantle played in, you know, the 50s, and there's even the guys before that we've talked about, but Mantle was a rookie in like 52. So you're talking about somebody who was born in 52 would be in their 70s now. And I never got to watch Mickey Mantle play, but I know that he was great. That's the thing. He transcends eras because stories will always be told. You know, we never got to watch Honus Wagner play. I never got to watch Babe Ruth play, but I know that Babe Ruth is the legend of legends because of the stories. He's a legend. That's what a legend is. That's what a legacy is. It's passed on from generation to generation. All right, guys, we're about going on 2 hours and 10 minutes, guys. I'm going to get ready to call the live stream. It's been fun. It's been awesome. It's always a blast on Monday nights. I think I have a video coming out tomorrow on my Star Stock submission. I'll show you guys how I did on that. And I also think that I'm going to do some NBA targets from the mid, 2014, 2017 stuff. What cryptocurrencies to invest in? I don't know. Flow coins, flow tokens on the flow chain. I mean, I would say Bitcoin, but that's probably the answer that everybody's giving. My thoughts on Cam Reddish, I like DeAndre Hunter better. I think DeAndre Hunter is a great buy right now, especially now that he got hurt, and it gives you a chance to buy in on him. DeAndre Hunter was getting better by the game. He had some 30-point games this year. He was drafted 4th overall. He's a great defensive player, which means he's always going to be on the court because Atlanta needs defenders. And because he's going to always be on the court, Trey is going to look for him. He's going to score buckets. He's going to score garbage buckets, like cleanup buckets and things like that. And he's going to average around that low 20s. He was already averaging 17 points a game this year when he got hurt. So I like DeAndre Hunter better than Reddish. I just don't think there's enough playing time for Reddish there when DeAndre Hunter is healthy, unless they move on from John Collins. And Cam Reddish shot, like I said, I know he's young, but he's not very consistent with his shot. Yeah, Michael Jordan. This is a weird question. Do I think LaMelo Ball rookie card prices will keep going up? It depends on the card. As the better products come out, these lower end cards are going to go down. The reason why hoops and like certified are so expensive right now is because there's nothing else for people to buy. So it's a supply and demand thing. People are demanding it because they're thirsty for their LaMelo Ball rookies, and they'll just buy what's on the market. But when Prism and Optic and stuff and all that starts to release, things like hoops and stuff are going to fall to the wayside Just like you see with draft picks, Prism draft picks, and their college uniforms. People buy that stuff when it first hits because they're hungry for a new product and they're hungry for the new rookies. I said thirsty the first time. But anyway, they die off in price once the other products start to come out. And it'll be your Prism, your Optics, and your Selects that you really want to buy. And as of right now, I can't give you a price point of those because they haven't hit the market yet. Yeah, Embiid is a beast. It's a shame that they're probably going to give LeBron the MVP, considering that Embiid is really good. All right, Brandon, I don't do a whole lot of buy, sell, or hold. Every once in a while, I put out flip, grip, or skip videos. Darius Garland, though, I'm probably holding. And that's going to go with the same story with a lot of modern basketball because – and a lot of this depends on your price point. It's always circumstantial on whether you should sell or hold. If you're selling at a loss right now, I would say no. I would say hold. But I like Darius Garland a little bit, longer term. And right now, it's just not a good time to sell any of these guys that aren't on competitive teams that are modern because all their cards have dipped from preseason prices. So if you were buying at preseason prices, selling now, you're probably going to take a loss. And I think there will be another time to capitalize on hype, even if you got to capitalize on hype as opposed to performance. NBA Finals prediction, if I had to make it today, I'm going to say the Lakers. That's the favorite. But I mean, I know that's not very, I know it's not very exciting, but I'm going to say the Lakers because Anthony Davis will get healthy. And I'm going to probably say, I'm going to go with, I think I'm going to go with the Sixers in the East. I think the Sixers match up well with the Nets. And I think something will happen with the Nets. But all right, guys, there'll be a couple videos out this week. I know this past week I only got one out. I'll try to get 2 out this week. I'll definitely be live streaming Monday. Be on a live stream with Personal Finance Dad Dustin tomorrow. So, guys, if you want to check us out and live stream with us tomorrow, make sure you're there. Like, subscribe, guys. Doing some more giveaways. Things like that. Keep it fun. Keep it real. Till next time, guys. I'm out. Talk to you guys later.